Hey there, welcome back to Clicks and Views, your one-stop destination for the best of Reddit's Am I the A-hole drama, random facts you never knew you needed, health tips that actually make a difference, mind-blowing AI music, or our top 10 lists to keep you ahead of the game. If you love mixing things up and discovering new things every day, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss out. Welcome back to another episode of Am I the A-hole? Today's story will put you in the shoes of someone grappling with a tough decision and the reactions that followed. Who's in the right, who's in the wrong, and who's the real a-hole in this situation? Let's get into it. I'm 25M, engaged to Ash, 25F, and recently we had an incident with my family where I put my foot down with my family and they think I'm TA. So we were all having dinner, mom and dad, half-siblings, mom's kids with her ex-husband, and their spouses, full siblings, and me and Ash. During dinner my parents asked Ash if she'd heard from her siblings recently and Ash said no and she wouldn't expect to ever hear from them. Ash was raised with half-siblings who were older than her but did not like that she existed and made sure she knew she was less than in their eyes for being half. They chose no contact once they turned 18 and cut off their shared dad too. Ash carries some sadness around because of it. She's an only child otherwise and still loves them and sometimes struggled with the little girl inside of her who really looked up to them. But she's working with a therapist to make sure she's doing better mentally. Especially now that she's an adult who has accepted she'll never have a relationship with them. My siblings brought up that they find the half thing weird and we never used it and nobody they know would ever personally use it. Mom said it's not something that should be encouraged and she'll never understand anyone dividing family up that way. My half-siblings said they just don't want to think people use it, but they do all of the time. They said they always used it for us. That most of us just closed our ears off to it and like to pretend we're all full siblings. They said we're not and the relationship they have with the rest of us will always be less than the one they have with each other because they have an entirely different side of their family to us and a different dad to us and we only think it's the same because we never went through divorce and or death of a parent. They went through both. My half-siblings went on to say their kids know we're not their real aunts and uncles and that our dad isn't their real grandpa. And it's dumb to think step and half are ignored. My half-siblings left and the rest of my family tried blaming Ash because she brought it up, my parents did, not Ash, and look what she started kind of thing. My mom said that kind of talk was never in our house before. I told them to stop and when they tried to say Ash working on accepting half is less, which she's not working to accept that but to accept her half-siblings and not wanting anything to do with her, I suggested to Ash that we leave and told my family that I was not going to tolerate that from them. I told them it was inappropriate and we would not come back if they were going to keep blaming Ash for something she had no role in. Am I the a-hole? This is a classic half-sibling versus full-sibling scenario, but with a unique twist that's left our storyteller wondering, did he do the right thing, or did he cross the line? Let's get into it and break it all down. So here's the background. Our storyteller, a 25-year-old guy, is engaged to Ash, who's been through her own rough experiences with family. Ash was cut off by her half-siblings when they turned 18, leaving her to grapple with feelings of rejection. They just didn't accept her, and even though she's working with a therapist to come to terms with it, the scars still run deep. One night, they're at a family dinner, and our storyteller's parents bring up the topic of family labels, specifically, half-siblings. Things quickly escalate when his family shares some intense opinions on how half shouldn't be acknowledged in their household, yet his half-siblings argue that it's a real and significant difference. Tensions hit a peak, and everyone's true feelings come out. And in the end, our storyteller stands up for Ash, which ends with them both leaving dinner and his family calling him the a-hole for it. First off, let's talk about Ash's experience. Growing up with siblings who flat-out rejected her must have been devastating. She looked up to them, yet they made her feel like she didn't belong. It's understandable that she's still working through those feelings and that she has some sadness around the topic. A lot of people struggle with that kind of complex family history, and it's great that she's getting support from her fiancé and working through it in therapy. Can you imagine being in her shoes? To be an only child by default because your siblings cut you off? It's no wonder she felt hurt by this whole conversation. Now, the dinner situation, yikes. When the topic of half comes up, our storyteller's family has strong opinions about avoiding those labels. They've clearly chosen to treat everyone like full siblings. But, here's the thing, the half-siblings point out that the label actually does matter. It reflects their experience, the divorce, the loss of a parent, and the different family dynamics they went through. In fact, they even told the rest of the family that their own kids don't see them as real aunts and uncles. There's definitely some harsh truths here. While I get the family's intention to keep everyone feeling equal, sometimes these differences aren't just in name only, they're real, lived experiences. Pretending it's not real for the sake of keeping the peace doesn't always work. So, when Ash starts getting blamed for all this, because apparently, she brought it up, our storyteller decides to take a stand. He's had enough, and he's not willing to let his fiancée take the heat for a topic that wasn't even her fault. He stands up, suggests they leave, and tells his family he won't tolerate them blaming Ash for something she didn't cause. Was it dramatic? Sure. But was it justified? Absolutely. Ash has already been through so much rejection, and it's clear that our storyteller wasn't about to let her go through it again. Setting boundaries is tough, especially when it's with your own family, but in this case, it was necessary. So, what's my take? I think our storyteller did the right thing. When you're in a committed relationship, especially one heading toward marriage, you have to have each other's backs. Standing up for your partner, especially when they're being unfairly blamed, is part of building a strong, healthy relationship. And while family unity is important, sometimes boundaries need to be drawn. In this case, his family crossed a line, and he set a firm boundary. That's not being an a-hole, it's being protective and respectful to his partner. But now I want to hear from you. Would you have done the same thing in his shoes, or would you have handled it differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think he's the a-hole for standing up for Ash, or is his family in the wrong here? Thanks for tuning in. Whether you came for the drama, stayed for the facts, or just love discovering fresh tips and tech, we're glad to have you here. If today's video sparked your interest, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who'd enjoy it, and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop. Got ideas for new content? Drop them in the comments below. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll catch you soon on Clicks and Views.